Hello, welcome to Waypoint Survival. Today, let's ask the question, if you could only take one knife, what would it be? This is a topic that has been debated hotly one way or the other, and obviously this idea, this issue of what's the best knife in a survival situation, if you could only take one knife, what would it be? Many knife makers and designers have come up with their one knife option. There are videos out there about how you would survive with just one knife, and I understand that this is a very opinion-based video, so feel free to voice your opinions. And but these are some of the things that I think about. What would you do if you could only take one knife, or should you only take one knife? So let's get into that. As I said a little bit ago, there are a lot of opinions on this, and it's been written about extensively on different blogs, different forums, discussion things on the internet, of course, as well as videos, and in different books. People have talked about what they would take if they could only have one knife. And of course, the question comes up, would you only bring one knife? And if you are going into a situation, why would you only bring one knife? And would there ever actually be a survival situation in which you would find yourself in the possession of only one knife or one cutting tool, as it might be? And so we look back into history, and what we find is that many of the people years ago, the mountain men, the trappers, the pioneers, the settlers, and actually peoples from all around the world, they understood the importance of a cutting tool, but they also understood the importance of redundancy, as well as the fact that some specific tools, knives for instance, are purpose-built and purpose-designed to do certain things. And while one knife may suffice for some things, it may not be the perfect knife for some other task that is more qualified to do something else in a different area. So let's talk about that. And of course, we're out here in the woods, and the mosquitoes are around. But let's just talk about the knives that I would carry in a survival situation. So in a survival situation, especially if you know you're going out into the woods, or if you have the ability to pack something in your car, your boat, of course you're very restricted when you travel on commercial airlines, but if you are in the remote areas of the world, or you're taking a bush plane for instance somewhere, then obviously your options are far more open to you, what you can pack and carry on board. But the question that I want to ask all of you is, why would you only take one knife? Understanding that two is one is none, and I always like to add three's a start. If you break or lose your one cutting tool, you're going to be in big trouble. As well as the fact that, as I've already stated, many knives are purpose-built for specific tasks. Now, I really like the Mora Cans Ball, and you all have seen this knife. I carry it a lot, I use it, and probably 80 to 90% of your bushcraft and camp chores can be done with this knife. So it's not a full tang, it's about 3/4 tang or so knife, but this is a great option. It's good Sandvik stainless. I mean, it's a really neat knife, and I like it a lot, and I like the handle. It's very grippy, and so I would recommend this knife to anyone that's looking for a good bushcraft knife. They're not super cheap. I don't know, they're about $50, and of course the multi-mount option. I also have done a video on this, how to carry this, and a new way to carry the Mora Cans Ball, and I can put up here in the top a link to that video. But anyway, I really like this knife. This is a great knife to carry. Knife number two that I would always want to carry is this knife that I designed and made myself. This is, of course, the Big Brother Bushcraft blade, and I also have a video on this one, and I can put another link up here if you wish to check out that video. Some of the specs: it's 1095 high carbon steel, and it's a 5 1/4 inch blade. But this is a large heavy duty knife. It's 3/16 thick, And so I really like this knife as a heavy-duty kind of a chopping knife. If you would have to baton some wood to get some dry inner stuff, you know, for fire starting in wet conditions, a knife of this size is really great. And so this would be my second option that I want to carry with me when I'm out in the woods, in the wilderness, preparing for a backpacking trip, or if I was in a survival situation, I would want to be already prepared. The third knife that I would talk about, and I think it's one of the more important ones that I think is often overlooked in people's bug out kits, in their survival kits, is this type of knife here. Now this is a folding fillet knife. It's got a lock here. You push this, it opens up. Do it a bit easier like this. There you go. You can see how it opens, and as it opens, this retracts. And this is a folding fillet knife. Now, those of you who fish and you clean fish, you eat fish, you know about fillet knives. But they're very thin, very flexible blades, and you can keep them razor sharp. And what's nice about this is obviously for cleaning fish, and it's going to be your easiest source of protein in the wilderness is if you're around a body of water, around the ocean, getting fish. And so a good stainless steel fillet knife. I carry this in my fishing kit, in my backpack all the time, because that way when I'm out and I need to catch some fish, I have something that's easy to clean with. Can I use one of these other knives? Absolutely. I can clean fish with either one of these, but it is a whole lot easier with this, because this is a purpose-built knife designed specifically for cleaning and gutting fish. So I would recommend something like this in your kit. The next option is you should always carry a good folding knife. I've got a bit of paracord on this one here, but this is made by Blade Tech, and it's really thin. It's got an open design here so it doesn't fill up with dirt and debris in my pocket. And this is a hunter type design. It's got jimping in several places here on the back of the spine of the knife, and it's designed, of course, so you can grip it and hold it in different ways, even choke up on it. There's more jimping right up here at the very top edge. You put your finger in when you're cutting and doing different types of tasks. But this is an excellent knife. Now, the issue with this knife, of course, is that it's a folding knife. So the joke about folding knives is that they're broken already, because obviously the joint here in the center where it folds, so it's not a full tang knife. So this is going to be the weak spot of the knife. So you won't want to do real heavy work with a knife like this. But for making triggers and for your deadfall traps and just for general cutting and doing things around tasks, around camp, this is a perfect knife, and it's lightweight, it carries easy. It's got G10 scales, it's an S30V steel, so it's a real high quality stainless steel. And so I carry this all the time. This stays in my pocket, and I would highly recommend a good folding knife. So we'll put that over here with the rest of them. The fifth and final knife that I would recommend that you carry at all times and that you pack with you so that you have redundancies as well as a purpose-built knife is a multi-tool. And of course, yes, it is a knife. You open this up, this is a SOG power lock from several years ago, but it has a nice sharp blade on it. It's non-serrated, and it used to have serrations, and I ground them off and resharpened it. So, but this is a great option. Of course, I have a video on this one as well, and I'll put another link to it right there. And so, yeah, but I mean, tools all over the place on this. And what's most important to me, besides the pliers, which really is one of the main things that I use this for, but it also has the wire cutter. This is great when you are cleaning fish, for instance. You can grab a hold of it. A lot of times, you know, fish are very slippery. They have that emulsion on their scales and their skin that just makes them really slippery. And you can grab a hold of the tail or some other part of the fish while you're skinning and cleaning and scraping off the scales. So I find this super useful in a lot of ways. It's a great pot holder, grab something hot off the fire, and it's just an excellent tool. And of course, most of you understand multi-tools and you know why you would carry one. But it also has scissors. It has a can opener, which, you know, you find yourself in a situation, you stumble upon a cabin and it's got canned food in it, but you know, you don't have a can opener. If you have this, then you've already got one with you. Of course, the screwdrivers, flathead and Phillips, you know, you're not going to use those a whole lot out in the woods, but once in a while, your gear, you may find something that needs repair, and that's also a good option. It has a great file on it, which is just a super good, useful tool, and a bunch of other things in here. Like I said, I have a video for it, which hopefully you'll see. But this would be my number 5 knife that I would want to take with me. So those are my 5 tools that I would want to carry in a survival situation or when I'm bushcrafting. And most of the time, as a matter of fact, pretty much all the time when I'm out teaching classes or in a survival situation, I will have these 5 knives with me because each one of them carries a specific purpose. Now, the Morikans ball is probably the most multi-use knife, followed of course by my folder, but still at the same time I like to carry these other ones because they afford me so many different options. Gives me extra backup redundancy for my blades if I lose one or break something, or if one of them just gets dull and I don't want to take time to sharpen it, I can always just pull out another knife and begin to use it. So this is my opinion on what you should use for your knives. And of course I ask the question to all of you, why would you only take one knife into the woods? Why would you try to survive with just one knife? And of course the second question is how many of you actually bring a sharpening stone with you into the woods? How many of you bring you know, a Lansky puck or a file for your axe? It's interesting the amount of people that will bring a knife with them into the woods, into the wilderness, into a survival and bushcraft, you know, practicing scenario, and they have nothing with which to sharpen their blade. And this becomes especially important when you get into the higher grade stainless steels. It's hard to sharpen a high grade stainless steel on a rock. Now, high carbon you can do it, and some of the other steels perhaps, but the harder they are and the more chrome it has in the blade, the harder you're going to have a time sharpening it on just an average rock or a piece of concrete block or something like that. So this is what I think. What do you think? So here they are lined up from left to right. We have the Morikans ball, we have the Big Brother Bushcraft blade, we have the folding fillet knife, we have the pocket knife folder, and then we have the SOG multi-tool. And like I said, I don't think you can go wrong with these 5 options. This is James Bender for Waypoint Survival. Please like, share, and subscribe. Make sure and check the links in the description box below, and don't forget to press the bell button to stay notified of all of our upcoming videos. We'll talk to you next time.